My wife and I were on a date when her father stormed into the restaurant and shouted, "Why didn't you invite me? I'm 32, married to Rachel for 5 years. Her dad, Frank, has been a nightmare from day one, questioning every decision I make, showing up unannounced, treating me like I'm not man enough for his daughter. He'd make comments like, "Still renting, huh? I owned my first house at 25. Or, "You're letting her work?" I always provided for my family. He had a spare key to our house and would let himself in on Saturday mornings while I was still in my gym clothes. Once he walked in and said, "Real men are up by 6. My day's half over. Every time I asked Rachel to set boundaries, she'd say, "He's just protective," or "That's how he shows he cares." She wouldn't make any financial decisions without calling him first. We couldn't even lease a car without his input. If we planned a vacation, she'd check with him to make sure the dates didn't interfere with his schedule. He criticized everything. How I mowed the lawn, how I grilled steaks, even my career path. And Rachel would just sit there nodding, letting me take it every single time. Last month, Rachel surprised me with dinner at Marcello's, our anniversary spot. Said she wanted to reconnect after things had been tense between us. I actually felt hopeful. Maybe she finally saw how her dad was destroying our marriage. I got cleaned up, wore that navy button-down she got me for my birthday, even splurged on cologne. The restaurant was perfect. Soft lighting, jazz playing, couples leaning across tables. We ordered wine, laughed about her co-worker's disastrous presentation. The waiter brought olive oil and warm focaccia. For the first time in months, it felt like we might actually fix things. Then I heard that booming voice behind me. "Why didn't you invite me?" Every conversation in the restaurant stopped. There was Frank in his fishing vest, work boots still on, glaring at us like we'd betrayed him. "Dad!" Rachel's face went pale. He marched over like he owned the place. "You told me you two were staying in tonight. You didn't mention you were coming here. I've been wanting to eat at this place." Then he turned to me with that look. "You didn't think to include me. Pretty selfish, don't you think?" And then Rachel did the unthinkable. She looked at him, then at me, and moved her purse off the empty chair. "Just sit, Dad. It's okay." I stared at her, hoping this was some kind of test, but it wasn't. She actually waved the waiter over and asked for another menu. That was it. 5 years of being made to feel small, of being pushed aside, of swallowing it and moving on every single time. I stood up and said in a voice that didn't sound like mine, "You two enjoy dinner because I'm done with this marriage." The entire restaurant went dead silent, not just our section. Everyone froze. Even the background music seemed to stop. I walked out without looking back, took an Uber to my brother's apartment, didn't go home that night or the next. When I finally returned, Rachel was waiting like I was the crazy one. "You embarrassed me," she said. "You chose him," I replied. She tried walking it back, said she didn't want to cause a scene, that he would have made it worse if she told him to leave, that she panicked and didn't know what to do. "You could have stood up like a wife," I said, "like a partner, like someone who actually chose to marry me." She had no answer for that. That's when I stopped trying. No more talks, no more pretending we were fine. I stopped sleeping in our bed, stopped planning anything with her. She barely noticed, or maybe she noticed and just didn't care. I went completely silent. No arguments, no pleading, no hoping for change. I just shut down and started planning my exit. 4 days later, I came home to find a note on the counter. "Dad's moving into the spare room to help us work through this rough patch." I walked into what used to be my home office. Frank's clothes were already hanging in the closet, his toiletries lined up on the shelf. He'd mounted a TV on the wall and put up framed photos of him and Rachel, fishing trips, graduations, father-daughter dances. Not a single photo with me in it. On the desk was his toolbox, with a label that said, "Frank's Workshop." Next to it, a coffee mug that read, "World's Best Dad." That's when I realized this wasn't about one ruined dinner. This was a calculated takeover that had been in motion for years, maybe since the day we got engaged. I packed my stuff and left that night for good. Found out later from our landlord that Frank had been asking him about breaking our lease and finding Rachel a place closer to his house. Said I wasn't stable and he needed to look out for his daughter. Some fathers-in-law don't just want to be involved.